Okay, in this tutorial we're going to look at website authoring from the syllabus. As you can see, there are three sections, one on using style sheets, one on creating web pages, and the last one is on using images. I'm going to actually start with the second part, so I'm going to make the web pages first, then I'm going to do the first part, which is attaching the style sheets. So we're going to start with 15.2. So first thing we need to do is get started with Dreamweaver. And while that's loading, I'm just going to make a new folder on the desktop, and I'm just going to call it website authoring, and all of the files we will save in here today. Okay, so in Dreamweaver I'm going to first make a new HTML file, and I'm just going to save it first of all. File, save as, onto my desktop, and I'm going to call it index. Save. Now this website is going to actually need two pages, so I'm going to make another page, file, new, HTML, file, save as, and I'll just call this about. So I'm going to have an index page and an about page. Okay, so let's go back to my index page. So if I go to the first part of creating web pages, the first part says you've got to be able to create links from text and images. So if I go back to my web page, I'm just going to create a link from some text. So click here to go to Charter's website. So first of all, I'm going to create a link from text image. So if I highlight the here text, go down to link, and I need to put in http://www.charter.ac.th. and if you want to go to an external web page, which means another website, you need to use http://. Okay, so now if I test this by going to preview in Chrome, save the changes, and now if I click on the here link, you can see it takes me to Charter's website. Okay, so that's creating a link from text, and I'm going to do something similar with an image. So let's go to Charter's website first, and let's get an image of the school. I'll just take an image of this logo actually, so I'm going to save image as, put it on my desktop again, and I'm just going to call it logo. Okay, so now in Dreamweaver I'm going to just insert that image. Insert image. There we go. Okay, so there's my logo. Now, so from the syllabus, I want to create a link from an image. So again, I'm just going to click on the image, go down to the link area, and again, http://www.charter.ac.th. and if I test that, save the changes, and now when I click on this image, it opens the Charter website. Okay, so that's the first part done. Second part, create anchors and links to anchors on the same page. So an anchor is used to link within a page. So for example, if I go all the way down this web page quite a bit, and I'm going to say go back to top of page. So when I click here, I want the browser to jump back up to the top of the page. So there are two parts to this. The first part is on the top of the page, I need to insert a named anchor. Okay, so here's my named anchor, and I'm just going to give it a name of top, T-O-P. Now it's important that you remember, if you call it with uppercase or lowercase because it is case sensitive. So TOP lowercase is not the same as TOP uppercase. So I click OK, and you can see that puts in a small anchor symbol up here called top. So let's go down now and make the link, which is the second part. So I'm going to highlight the text. In the link area, I'm going to put in the hash symbol followed by the name of the anchor, and I call it top. So now I'm going to test this by hitting F12, saving the work. If I scroll down to the bottom, when I click on the go back to top of page, it takes me back up to the top of page. So that is creating an anchor, and then I've created a link to go back to the anchor in the same page. You can have many anchors on your page for jumping around various sections. So for example, I can go into the center here, and I'm going to create an anchor called middle. Click OK, and I'll just put some text saying this is the middle of the page. If I go down to the bottom, then let's just put some text here saying go to the middle of the page. And if I highlight this one and go to my link area, I put in the hash symbol again, followed by the name of the anchor, which is middle. So if I test that one, if I scroll down to the bottom, click on go to the middle of the page, it has now jumped to the anchor called middle. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus document. So that's the second part. The third part says create links to other locally stored web pages. A locally stored web page means another web page within your website, so saved on your computer and not saved on the actual internet. So at the beginning I created two pages, one called about, one called index. So what I need to do is make a link from my index page to my about page. So let's go up to the top of my website. Let's just put in here about page, and I'm going to highlight this, and in my link I can type in, if I want, I can just type in about.html. Let's test that, F12. And when I click on the about page, you can see it opens my about page. Now there's nothing in my about page, that's why it's blank. There is another way. Instead of highlighting the text and going into the link here, you can just click on the folder and find the page, but it works the same way. So about, save it again, F12, and when I click on this, it goes to my about page, even though there's nothing there yet. Okay, next up, create links to a website using the URL, an external link. Well, I've actually done that in the first part already. That's when I created a link going to Charter's website. And the important thing to remember is with an external link, you must put in the http://part. Next is create a link to send an email to an email address. So let's go back and I'll just put that underneath saying click here to email Mr. LaCumber. Okay, and I'm going to highlight the here text, and I'm going to go and click on the email link, and I just need to put in the email address, and I'll put in ict@charter.ac.th. Click OK. So let's test that by hitting F12 and saving. And now when I click on the here, it should launch my default mail program. And you can see that my default one is Windows Live Mail. So if you have Outlook installed, it will launch Outlook, or if you have a different email program installed, it will launch that program. Okay. Okay, so next then is create links which open in a specified location, including the same window, a new window, and a window specified. So let's do a link opening in the same window first of all. Let's close my email first. So in Dreamweaver I'll just put a link to the about page again. Let's just remove the link first. Okay, so I'm going to make a link in the about page which opens in the same window. So that means when I hit F12 and click on the link, it will open in the same window. So again, you just go down to your link and put in about.html, and this part here is the important part for this exercise. Target, I'm going to click on self, and if I hit F12 in preview, when I now click on about, you'll notice it will open within this same tab, and it does. Okay, so it just opens within the same tab or the same window. Next of all is opening in a new window, and to do that, go back to Dreamweaver, highlight the about page again. This time, instead of having a target self, you can have a target blank, and let's save that. Now when I click on the about page, it should open in a new window over here, and you can see it does. Here's my original window, here's my new window. Okay, so let's just close some of these windows. Okay, next of all, we can open it in a window with a specified name. So for example, I can highlight my about page. Again, in my target, I can actually put in any name that I want. So I'm going to call it _ about. Now what this will do is it will open it in a new window, but the window will be called about. So if I F12 that, click on the about page, it opens in a new window, as you can see, and this window is actually called _about. Now why is that useful? Well, if we have lots of links opening into many different windows and we want to find the code for that in the HTML, if they were all called _new, well then it would be difficult to find the correct link. However, when I call it _about, I can find the particular link very quickly. So it's useful if we have lots of links. Okay, next of all is inserting tables with rows, data, cell spacing and cell padding. So let's just go and insert a new table. So I go to insert table, and here I can choose how many rows and how many columns. Let's just put in 4 rows and 4 columns. Here I can choose the width of the table. The width can be usually in pixels or in percent. So if I put it in pixels, it will be a certain size depending on the computer. However, if I put it in percent, it will expand to the percentage of the window. Okay, so if I put in my table, there we go. So that's inserting a table, and I'm going to just look at the HTML for this table over here, and you can see that the TR HTML tag is for a row, and you can see I've got 1 row, 2nd row, you can see it highlighted here, 3rd row, and last row. So the TR tag is for a row. Within the TR tag you've got TD tag, and the TD just means the cell which contains some data. So inside this TR row you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 TDs, and here's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you need to be aware of that. There is also something called cell spacing and cell padding, and if you want to edit the cell spacing or cell padding, let's just highlight the table again. You can see cell padding is here and cell spacing is here. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, first of all, let's put in cell spacing. If I just put in 20 for example, and you can see it is put, as the name cell spacing suggests, it has put a spacing between each cell of 20 pixels. So let's just put that back to about 5, and you can see the distance between cells will change back to about 5. Okay, and to show you what cell padding is, I'm just going to put some data into this first of all. So I'll just call this 1, 2,